Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 1. Now, this was a great episode. Finally, the show lived up to its name. There was so much good zombie action, so much good, action. Some great villains. Like, you really got the sense that either these people who are alive are gonna kill our survival group, or the dead's gonna kill them. Like, finally, this show lived up to its name, and it was just great. I wish the entire series could be as great as this episode. And for the most part, I have no gripes with this episode whatsoever. Like, there's no rant. Like, everything was just awesome. If I had to complain about one thing, it's kind of some of the characters missing, like Strand, who's still in Mexico because he left the group, and Ophelia. What happened to her and stuff. That's like my only real gripe. But other than that, I have none. Like, this was just a great episode. Actually, I do have one little gripe: the racism in this episode. I'll get to that later. So let's pin it for now. But yeah, I don't understand how it took them so long to finally come up with such a great episode. And it's kind of like, after this great episode, I haven't finished the rest of the season. Because I finished it years ago. But it's kind of like, like I said, I've never been a fan of Fear the Walking Dead. I didn't like it until they rebooted it for the first half of the fourth season. But then the second half of the fourth season and everything after that was just pure crap. And it's just like, why? Why did it take these people so long to finally give us what we needed? Like, when I say it lived up to the name of Fear the Walking Dead, it lived up to the name Fear the Walking Dead. Like, you're supposed to be terrified. You're supposed to be scared for these people. And I never really felt scared for these people in any other episode, to tell you the truth. So it kicks off exactly where last season left off at. Last season left off with, what's his name, Nick, Luciana, and a group of people from that Tijuana colony. They were captured by these military people after they crossed the border into America. And so it starts off with Madison's group. They're being dragged by these military people because they have now just crossed the border. We didn't see them trek their way from Mexico to America. So they kind of just cut that out, which is kind of good because we don't need to see that long, dragged out drive and stuff. And so, yeah, it just starts off and it's kind of like, oh man, no, the military people got them. And it's like, once again, bad military people, man. It's like, I don't understand. The world came to an end and the military people on this show just went nuts, And so they're being dragged out and they're being relocated and they're being stored in separate rooms. Travis is placed in one separate room where he finds Nick and Luciana. Alicia and Madison are in a completely different room that's a whole lot nicer. So we find out what the military people are doing. It's a rag team group of people, and they're basically running experiments on people to see how long they turn into zombies. They're just conducting all kind of tests, age, weight, height. What's the difference between this person turning to a zombie faster than the other person, and just stuff like that. And so they're killing these innocent people, but more importantly, they're grabbing folks who just come over the border. And then we find out kind of why. It's because these people are extreme racists. They are the extreme type. So anybody who crosses the Mexican border, they automatically assume it's Mexican, and then they just grab them and then they start experimenting on them and killing them and stuff. It's so sad what happened to Luciana's people. Some of them survived and ran off, but the rest of them just ended up dead by Troy's people. And if you know me from all my other videos, I hate racism. And, one thing about The Walking Dead is I never understood something. It's when I first started watching the first season and one episode, Gut, which is a really good episode, I was very shocked that they used the N-word over and over and over with the Merle character and how racist he was. I'm just like, geez, I get being realistic, but you don't gotta be like that realistic, you know? And then so like they dropped that word again once in the second season when Daryl hallucinated, pretending he was talking to Merle. And so, you know, as I was researching the show, I found out that Otis from the comic books was extremely racist. About as racist as Merle, but a little bit more. And also the governor was also a racist too. And so I remember thinking to myself, why on earth would Robert Kurtzman, is that his name? I'm getting him mixed up with the CBS Star Trek dude. Kirkman. Okay, Kirkman, not Kurtzman. Okay, Kirkman. But yeah, Robert Kirkman. Like, I've always wondered, like, why would he, like, write that and portray that in his comic book? Like, I get it. Like, he wants to show, like, this is the real world, and these are how some people act. You know, not everybody acts like that way, and like this and that. But to go that extreme route, like, you can show racism, but you don't have to use no slurs. You know what I'm saying? There are other ways to get around that. And he did it in an extreme way, like in the comic books. And so when I started thinking about that, I started thinking to myself, could he possibly be like racist or secretly racist or like one type of people who just wants to use slurs and just don't care? Like, I always wondered, like, what kind of person is he? And I'm not the only person who has thought that. Like, other people have thought that as well. And it was even to the point when people started watching The Walking Dead, which of course he didn't necessarily create the show. He's like an executive producer. Somebody else created the show, but he created the comic book. And it's kind of like, but he does get some input on what gets to happen and stuff like that. You know, he is the creator and executive producer and stuff. And so it was kind of like, okay, when then you see the T-Dog character, it's like the dude didn't have nothing to do for 3 whole seasons. And then when you watch the 4th season, you see that they brought in tons of black characters. 2 they created for the show. And one of them characters came in the 3rd season. But anyway, yeah, in the 4th season, there was like tons of black people and they had like a lot to do in that season. And, you know, and a lot of people was kind of seeing this as them making up for the whole T-Dog and Jacqueline thing. And I can see that. Like, Michonne just, like, you know, she was a strong black character, but she was just one strong black character in a sea of, like, full of other people. And so that wasn't, like, enough for people. So, like, people saw exactly what they was doing in the 4th season. They were trying to make it up and stuff. But then it's kind of like, and it's like, okay, we get what you're doing. So we see that you realize you got a problem. But then it's kind of like trying to make up for it now and then having all this crap in like the comic book and in the show. Is it something just doesn't click? You know what I'm saying? So with this episode, when they got like separated and put in these different rooms and everything, you know, Travis, he was talking to Nick and he was talking to this other character. And the other character knew that they were going to die, and so they were trying to figure a way to escape. And Madison, you know, her and Alicia, they were trying to find a way to escape out the room. And it's kind of like, Madison really impressed me with how strong she was in this episode. It just came completely out of nowhere, because she wasn't really like that in the first 2 seasons. Like, she was starting to get like the way like a little bit in the second, but she just like completely changed in the 3rd season. And I was just kind of curious. I didn't see it. I couldn't figure out why she became so tough as she did in this season. And then when we get into the 2nd episode, it's like, oh, okay, that's why. And Luciana, in this entire episode, man, God, they did her wrong in this episode, except for one part. She was like hovering and cowering within Nick's arms. She was terrified of these military men. And for good reason, you know what I'm saying? But remember, she used to be tough in the last season. So what happened to that toughness? So this was starting to be the downfall of a character. And so with her being completely terrified, we were starting to feel terrified. Cause we starting to see that these dudes are just killing folks left and right and running experiments on them. And it's kind of like, crap, one of them might be next. Because you know how these shows are. They love to kill off their main characters. And only one main character died last season. Now, the military people, Troy. Troy is evil as evil can come. Like, this dude is twisted in the head. And his little military buddies are his little goon squad. And they are just hateful and prejudiced. Now, you can feel the hate and racism coming all through that, especially when they kept accusing Travis of being Mexican, and he's not even Mexican. He's from New Zealand. I think it's called Maori or Maori or something like that. And it's just like, they were just totally disrespecting that dude. And then so when it came time to start killing folks, the one military dude wanted to speed up like the killing and stuff and the testing. So when it came time to go to Louisiana, Nick tried to like save her, and Travis all like, just take me, blah blah, stuff like that. So then of course that's when the big escape happens. And they try to like fight their way out. And they succeed in getting out until, the heat is on. And as they're like trying to get down in the sewer system with the new guy, Travis is all like, you two go, I'll find your mom and this stuff like that. So he gets taken captive again, while the guy who tried to help them escape, he gets shot. Now, while all this is going on, we see, Troy. We see him constantly talking to like Alicia and Madison, and you can tell he's lying. He has that stupid, goofy, frat boy, idiotic look on his face, And so it's like, he's deceiving them, and he doesn't truly want to tell them what they want to know. But the question is, why does he want them so bad? Why is he treating them so good and everything? And of course, it's because they're women and they're white. And when we find out later on in the season, him and his dad are extreme racists. Pretty much everybody that they're killing is either a man or like a person of color. So when the escape happens, before that, Alicia gave Madison the knife. And so she tries to like attack Troy with it, but he gets the upper hand on her. And so they're struggling, they're fighting. I mean, man, Madison got tough this season. I've never seen her act this way before. She was doing everything she can to take on this grown man and everything. Well, she's older than him, but he's a whole lot stronger than her, and he has military training. So when he gets the upper hand on her and he gets to pin down, that's when she grabs her magic weapon, a spoon, and she spoons the crap out of him. She jabs it in his eye, and she tells him plain and simple, you're gonna lose this eye if I don't get my family back right now. And she wants Travis as well. So before Troy gets spooned, he told the goons to like take Travis out back. They take him to a pit full of zombies. Travis oh my God, dude. This dude took on like 5 zombies at one stinking time. He whooped on them, and he used everything he could in that little pit. Cinder blocks, steel rods, his fist, his foot. Like, that man took on. This is why I thought he might have a dark past, because this dude can kill with his bare hands. And not only that, but then they unleash tons more zombies. There's at least 10 or 20. And when we get to the next scene, because we don't see him fight those, when we get to the next scene, Madison's outside threatening all the military people. She's gonna like, spoon the crap out of this dude's eye if you don't get the family back. Well, here comes Troy's brother. Troy's brother is actually nice, and he calls everybody off. And so Alicia, she's looking for like a vehicle, and she finds Nick, and Nick's down there with tons of zombies, man. Cause this is what I loved about it. It's the classic zombie like surprise. Like, you're running in a dark space, and then you like knock down a door, and then you can't get the door back up, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's like 50 something zombies there. And so him and Luciana, they run through the sewer system. That one dude who tried to help them escape, he's been zombified and he's trying to eat them and everything. But Alicia finds him and drops him the knife. And then that's when we saw Luciana being like, her strong character that she was in the second season. And it's kind of like, this is really the only like good thing she did in this episode. And it's kind of like, seriously, like I said in my last video, the writers have left this woman down. They turned her into this recurring background character. But now we get back to Travis. All the zombies are dead. With his bare fist, this dude took them out. Jeez. This is what I'm talking about. This is good zombie action right here. But then it gets even better. The one little prick military goon dude who's a racist, he hears like a strange noise and he's the only person in that room. And so he sees a vent. He pries it open and like 20 rats come out. So it's like, ew, this is gross and nasty. But of course, animals don't turn people into zombies, so it's not like it's Resident Evil. But then there's a zombie inside the wall. It grabs him and bites his flesh. And then it pulls him into the wall, like some type of horror movie type thing. Finally, this show is living up to its name. So after that, the zombies are coming all throughout the sewer system and everybody scatters. Madison and Nick and Troy, they all leave in like a truck. Whereas Luciana, Alicia, and Travis, they leave by plane and they just like fly off. And that's the end of the episode. And of course, when we get into the next episode, in the very couple of early minutes, yeah, something happens. And I couldn't believe that happened. Till this day, I am shocked that that happened. And I'm just like, holy crap. Now I know why Travis fought so hard. They try to make him like, give him his one heroic moment before the dude had to leave the show. But yeah, like I said before, this episode lived up to the name of the show. I thought this season premiere was way better than the Walking Dead premiere, which is saying something because season 3 of the Walking Dead premiere is actually pretty good. The only problem is it's very somber. There's a lot of quiet, slow moments because it's just them like finding the prison, clearing it out. It's Michonne and Andrea on their own and about to go to like that one governor's place, and then of course it's Rick and them fighting off the zombies, losing Carol, and then finding like a group of like prisoner people. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.